Hello everybody, this is 8Lana8 and I am back with a tutorial for creating a character model with Xara Photo and Graphic Designer 10. This is the program that I have been using for my comics and a lot of my total drama pictures. So here is an Xara model. Basically, it's a finished design of a character with each part of their body grouped into different layers so that you can easily change their pose. It makes it so you don't have to redraw your characters over and over if you're going to be including them in a bunch of pictures. You can then mostly just edit their limbs and change their facial expressions instead of drawing the entire character from scratch. So let's get started. Here I have my OC, Josh. I actually just fixed all of the views of his rotation and his overall model. So this here is a character rotation, which I'm probably going to make an entirely new video on how to create those because they're very difficult to figure out on your own. I'm going to be focusing on this view, which is the classic 3/4 view of the character, and I would recommend first drawing this view of your character and in a neutral pose. So let's hide all the other views and just work on this one. So the very first step would be to draw your character on paper and then either take a picture or scan it to your computer and then open the picture in Xara. In this video, I'm not really going to show you how to do the lines and stuff like that, just how to make your character into a model. So let's start with the head of the character. So over here is where the layers are shown, and his head is at the very bottom. So I'm going to open up that grouping to reveal more layers. You can see there are a couple more groups inside. That's just to keep it more organized, which I recommend you do. And to make a group, by the way, you select the pieces you want in that group, and then you press Control and G on your keyboard. And you can't actually make a group if the pieces are already in a group. So I'll show you once I remove these pieces from all the groups and then press Control G. Then there it becomes a group and you can open and close it. And then you can put that group back into another group if you want to. So the very first shape I start with is the head. Not the hair or the face, just the head. If I hide some of the other layers, you can then see the entire shape of the head and also what Josh would look like if he were bald. Another important thing about Xara is that it is all about shapes. When you draw the neck, you'll have this line here. In this program, because it is a vector program, in order to hide that line, you will have to draw another shape in your character's skin tone and put it on top of that line, like that. That's probably one of the weirdest things about Xara that you'll have to get used to. Next, I do the hair, and I draw the shape of the hair that is supposed to be behind the head. You always want to keep in mind what is behind the character and what is in front so you can place the layers in the correct order. Behind Josh's head is most of his hair, so that's one shape by itself. And in the layers over here, you can see his hair is at the very bottom. So I'll show you what that looks like. So there's, you can see the entire shape of his hair that's behind his head. And then I did the part of his hair that covers his face as another shape, so that I can put that layer on top of his head, which looks like this. Then I don't want his head sticking out here, so I made another shape with his hair color that goes on top of his head and under his purple hair, which looks like this. So that's the basic idea of it. After that, you add the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the eyebrows, all as separate pieces. With the eyes, the best way to do it is to have 3 different layers of ellipses. So the top ellipse is just a black outline with no fill color. The middle is the colored pupil of the eye, and the bottom is the white of the eye with no outline. And I also have this piece just to add more personality to the design. But then you can move around the pupil. And for the finished drawing, if the pupil goes outside of the black line, you can either just use the eraser tool to erase it, or you can create another shape in the skin color to hide it as well. Let's go to one of my other OCs, Trixie. Her hair is a little more detailed than Josh's. When I hide it, you can see that it is behind her entire body, which is why it is at the very bottom of the list here. And when I hide all the other layers, you can see the full shape of her hair. So basically your hair is made up of more shapes. The bottom one is the main shape of the hair, and the others are the different colors of her hair. Wow, I'm noticing how messy this looks. I am definitely going to fix that at some point. I'm going to unhide all of the layers now. And you'll see that it's looking more and more normal as I do so. I would recommend that you spend a lot of time on perfecting every piece of your model because it saves you from doing more work later on. I can't believe I just fixed Josh's model now and still need to fix Trixie's and probably all my other characters' models, and I'm so far into my comic series. Oh my gosh. And the hair that is in front of her head looks like this. Also with multiple layers to make the different colors in her hair. And if I hide it, you can see what she would look like bald. And I also have this separate piece because it is behind her head, but in front of the back of her hair. So I have it as an entirely different shape. So I think I've mostly covered how to do the head of your character. So now I'll show you the main layers of the body. All of these groups here are the pieces of the body that we will want to move and edit in order to pose the character. With the arms, you should make the hand a separate group so that you can easily remove it when you need to draw a new hand in a different position. And I always separate the upper arm and the lower arm. That way you can easily move it around when you want your character in a different position. And then the torso is a different group. Pretty simple because it doesn't have any joints. And then the legs, which are similar to the arms. The upper leg and lower leg are separate, as well as the feet. I also have the hips as a separate shape, which just makes it easier to edit their leg positions without looking off. It'll be easier to see that on a girl character, so let's go back to Trixie. Here's the hip shape, which you can see is separate from the legs. And then when we move the leg, it looks normal. If the legs and hips were joined, it would then look like this, which really doesn't work. And that was basically the gist of how to make an Xara character model. In this picture, you can see that all these characters are character models that have been edited into different poses. Now, I don't recommend always using an Xara character model. Sometimes, if you're doing a more advanced pose, it's easier to draw it yourself. Or rather than editing the arms and legs, sometimes it's better to just redraw them because the model does limit you for those more detailed poses. Anyways, I hope this video was useful to you and that you maybe learned something about creating a character model. I do want to make more videos. I have some more ideas, but I would love to hear if you guys have any ideas. If you have any questions, leave a comment and I may make a video to help you out. Also, I would really appreciate it if you checked out my comic Total Drama Outcasts, which can be found on my DeviantArt account. I'll provide a link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.